Hey, this is comedian Bruce Jingles, and I had a great time on Dro TV, and that I wasn't even high. Thanks.
Welcome to My First Time, the show about your first time getting high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman with Dro TV. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, Bruce Jingles. What's happening, my friend?
How are you? How are you, Mike? Thanks for having me on Dro TV, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for being a guest on Dro TV here today. You can find more of Bruce. Man, he's everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, at Bruce Jingles. And the man's hilarious. BruceJingles.com. That's right. And I'm excited to get into today's episode. So, Bruce.
And soon a special.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into the special. Bruce, for some of our audience that may not know you, please let us know where you're located and what you do.
Who are these people? I don't know. Who are they? No, I'm just kidding. I'm comedian Bruce Jingles. I live in Los Angeles, California. Not really Los Angeles, about 40 miles outside of Los Angeles, but Los Angeles is Los Angeles. Been a comedian for 20 years. Just filmed filmed an hour-long special.
Hey, this is Bruce Jingles, comedian. You may recognize me from Showtime or your local dispensary. I'm finally getting my first hour special, mine, me, nobody else. And I'm taping it where? At the place I got started, the Ontario Improv, Thursday, June 23rd, 7 and 9 p.m. I'm dedicating it to my late mother who passed away last year. Bruce Jingles, his mother's son. Smoke weed before the show. I'll smoke with you after the show. I get a special. You get laughs. I better see your ass there.
I'm shopping to Netflix and the other platforms. And I do comedy on cruise ships.
Awesome.
I just recently got hired by Carnival and Norwegian Cruises, so I'm excited about that. But I actually got hired before I started doing the special because I self-produced it, and so the special became more. Of course, important. It's my money that's involved in it,
Sure.
and you want your special to be special. You want it to be better than the other ones you've seen. You don't want it to be exactly like the ones you've seen. So you're your harshest critic. Especially comedians. So,
Sure.
but it went amazing, and I'm looking forward to everybody watching. It's gonna be the first special shot in 4K, total 4K. So because I don't like 3Ks because that's scary. No, just kidding. But totally in 4K. We had 9 cameras.
Wow.
Shooting the special. Did it at the Ontario Improv, which is basically my home club. That's where I first got started, and I figured I'd keep it a little more intimate. Got recorded 2 shows one night. All of them were sold out, so you have 400 people each show.
Wow.
It was an amazing night. The truth about the special is not just about me; it's about my mother, who passed away last year, very unexpectedly. And we lived together. We're very close, and so it's about me triumphing oh, over the tragedy, and showing that you can move on with your life. So I think it's a feel good story. It's sad, but it's a feel good story. And it's shot differently. So I'm very proud of it because, like I said earlier, you want your specials to be different. This being dedicated to my mom, I call it Bruce Jingles, his mother's son, and because she was a big part of, not just part of my life, but she's part of my act as well. She was my closing joke for a number of years.
Okay.
So I had to end that chapter fairly. Not that that I'm not going to do jokes about her anymore. I can't stop. You know what I mean? Because if I stop doing that, then she truly dies.
Right.
So, but now that she's passed, now she's omnipotent. You know what I mean? So she can like pop out a box of Cheerios or some shit, like woo, you know. So, but it was very the last 2.5 years have been very uh, uh, major changes, major changes. Um, Not just, the world shut down for a year, and that was, I didn't know what the hell was going on. My career that I'd worked 20 years looked like it was gone overnight. Losing a year and a half worth of work relatively overnight, literally overnight. Not knowing where my next dollar was coming from, eventually getting government help. Luckily, I was a lot of comedians, quote unquote comedians, didn't get that. I was fortunate to do that. So in the meantime, I dabbled into my hobby, which is comic book collecting. So I concentrated more on that. I have over 40,000 comic books, Marvel, DC, and independents.
Wow.
From 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today, 2000s, 2010s. So I really concentrated on that. I have a lot of friends. I have friends that are in the industry that are artists or writers that I'm a fan of, but now they're fans of me. So that's cool.
That's very
so
cool.
I'm getting all that stuff signed. Artists like Bill Sienkiewicz, John Romita Jr., legendary artist, Dennis Cowan, writers like Chris Claremont, to name a few. So I get those signed, and then eventually I'm going to sell off my collection because I figure with my mother's passing, tomorrow's never promised, so I'm going to live my life and sell the collection. I don't know if you or any of your viewers are comic book heads. When my mother passed, she left me some money, and I bought a friend's my ex's friend's comic book collection. My ex used to work for Stan Lee as his handler.
Wow.
And yeah, so her ex was his business partner, was his last business partner. He was going to buy the collection, and I said, I remembered all the stuff that was in that I had heard was in the collection, and I called the person that was selling it because her husband had committed suicide a number of years back. He was the comic book collector, and she wanted to go on with her life and get rid of the comic books. He was going to sell it. He was going to purchase it for the collection for 65 grand. And I called and called her up and said, "Hey, Patty, this is Bruce, blah, 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 blah." We talked for 20 minutes about my mom's passing. And I said, let's get down to I want the collection. I know you don't like Max. I don't like Max. So I'll give you $30,000 cash. And she said, okay.
Wow.
And so when I got there, and I looked, the first thing I saw was Giant Size X-Men #1. If people don't know what that is, that's the introduction of the new team with Wolverine. That's probably the most valuable of the X-Men collection. I also found Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Wow.
1963. So that made up the investment.
I had Wolverine #1, and I think my brother pawned it, but I had Wolverine #1 as a kid.
The miniseries?
The one where it's like him on the cover, he's like holding, it's like an orange cover.
It's a face shot.
Face shot. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And it's him in the claws and he's smiling.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Frank Miller and Chris Claremont. That's actually pretty valuable. I believe that's about $200, I would say. That just for the first issue. There's a 4-issue limited series. Because it added more to the Wolverine character, introduced to the Japan storyline, stuff like that.
Okay.
Like there's so much about comic books. I know you don't want to talk about comic books.
Well, no, that's
You
okay.
want to talk about comedy?
Comedy, comics, wrestling. We can talk about it all, but the show is my first time, Bruce. So
Yes,
we want to hear about the first time you got high.
Well, the first time I got high, I was 11. I had a tumor, which grew on the side of my ear, right behind my ear, and it was about this small. Let me make from the poking out, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I told my mom. We went to the doctor, and they gave me a biopsy. Found out it was cancerous. They removed it. Luckily, it grew 1/4 of an inch from my lymph nodes. If you know what anything about cancer, you know that once it hits the lymph nodes, that's it.
Yeah.
Metastasizes.
Bad news. Yeah.
So in the meantime, I was going through chemo for 6 months, radiation too, and in 81, cancer treatment was way different than it is now. A lot more brutal, especially to an 11-year-old. So my father knew that I was losing my appetite and everything, and so he did. To smoke this will help you, and it did.
It did, yeah.
And I've been stuck ever since. That's my origin story. It's nothing funny, but it's funny that it's your parent giving it to you to save his kid's life. Man. And that's why I'm a big not just a pot enthusiast, but a pot actor, yay pot. That's what
yeah. Well, hey, good thing for your pops, man, that he could see that even at 11 years old. Because I would imagine edibles wasn't huge back then.
No.
How to make that stuff,
Brownies with weed with sticks and stems and seeds.
Yeah.
It was really, the edibles back then were fucked up.
Yeah.
But luckily, it helped. It really did. It helped give me an appetite, helped me rest. It's been a part of my life ever since.
Wow.
Now for pain, because I'm older now, I'm 52, and my body is off a lot of wear and tear. And I'm also 6'5". So when you're taller, your knees are the first thing to go. My feet, I have bone spurs in my feet, and I do stand up in that bitch.
Yeah, man.
So it helps with that too. And I also suffer from insomnia. So not excuses, people, but that's my relationship with marijuana.
So you first tried it when you were 11. When did it become, the half-baked? When did it become a part of your crew?
I say 14.
Okay.
14. Because back then, I was 11 still, and I was messed up by it because I figured by then it was medicine to me at that time, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to be a kid. Now I'm a teenager. Now it's a comeback. And all my friends were doing it. And what really got me to go back to it was this chick named Gloria. And she was hot. 14-year-old, she had big boobs, like huge, like wow. And
that'll do it.
That was it. Yeah. Now she's a grandma.
Shout outs to Gloria.
Amen. So those boobs are sagging now.
So are those 52-year-old boobs too?
I think 53. I think
53.
she's old.
She's old, yeah.
Yeah. Some big boobs, you got, it, there's drawbacks.
Hey, yeah. It's
Especially
not
you got
all.
to take care of your boobs, ladies. Do boob exercises. I must increase my bust. I know my boobs will grow. Hurrah, hurrah. My aims are bigger, brah.
Oh man, I didn't know if there was like an actual exercise or exactly what, but um,
I think there's some things like that. There's
uh,
exercise I give to women. Anyway,
Bruce, when did you first start doing comedy?
20 years ago, well, I take that back. All my life, but
Okay.
professionally, 20 years ago, at the Ontario Improv, as a matter of fact. I was dared by my best friend to enter an amateur contest, and I was the last person to enter the contest, and I had to perform. I was the first one to go up on the first show of the contest. So it was a weekly contest built up to it lasted 8 weeks. I won that.
Wow.
And I went to the semifinals, and I won that and got to the finals, and lost that to more experienced comics who aren't in the industry anymore.
Hey, funny how that works.
Yeah, and the first time I did stand up, I hadn't done it before. The first contest I won, I had never done stand up before.
Wow.
And I was hooked ever since. So then at that time, it was during a renaissance, because comedy stand up has so many different renaissances. Like it takes a dive, and then it comes back up. It takes a dive, it comes back up. During that time, it happened to be in a renaissance. And the comedy clubs were opening everywhere. Comedy rooms were opening everywhere in Southern California. Open mics, what have you. So I was hitting every open mic, at least 3 or 4 a day.
Wow.
At least 3 or 4 a day, until I got noticed by the clubs, not just the amateur shows, but clubs, and they'd have me host the weekend or something like that. So it built from there, and then more headlining comics heard it, took notice of me, and took me under their wing, and I learned off of them. And today,
Awesome.
I'm on the Throw TV.
Hey, here you are. So how did you, I mean, so we're going to scan through a bunch of pictures while we're talking here. You sent us some pictures. You got Ric Flair, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Chris Jericho. Did you meet these guys through your comedy?
Yes.
Or awesome.
Yes. I met Rob Van Dam through comedy, which led to meeting The Godfather, which led to meeting. They were talking about me, and it just led on and on. And then finally I did Chris Jericho's cruise. Chris Jericho has a cruise every year, goes from Florida to the Bahamas.
Okay.
And so I did the second cruise 2 years ago. Well, no, I'm sorry, 2 years ago. I did the second cruise along with Gabriel Iglesias. Gabriel had the bigger show. I had my own show, but on cruise ships, the comedy rooms hold 3,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big. Yes. So the first night, my first show, I only had to do 3 shows. The first show was 800 people, and then 800 people in a room that holds 3,000 looks empty. But the next time, they were turning people away. Like wow. Gabriel couldn't get into the show. It was awesome.
That's a good feeling.
And then I did Gabriel's show. Gabriel ended up hosting, and he had me headline it. So
excellent.
That was awesome. And I'm hanging out with Ric Flair and Jim Ross, and Jim Ross was the one I freaked out the most.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask how Like, how were you around like Ric Flair? I mean, he is the.
He's cool. He was cool. I kind of got nervous, but I know how to meet celebrities, or I don't have a problem with that. But Ric Flair is Ric Flair.
Right.
Styling, profiling, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. But he is that dude. The bling. He is that dude. When I met The Undertaker, that was intimidating. Playing dominoes with him.
Wow.
That was weird. Probably the person that intimidated me the most out of any celebrity that is a wrestler or is involved in wrestling or was involved in wrestling is Vince McMahon. I never met him, but I was backstage at a couple of Raws, Monday Night Raws, and he has a guard. He has an Imperial Guard like the Emperor Palpatine. And these dudes are bigger than his wrestlers.
Wow.
You know, it's very, 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 very intimidating. But I'm thankful that my comedy has gotten me to meet people I was fans of, or still am, but now they're my friends, which is weird. Because you can easily go back to being a fan, like you're hanging out with RVD or something, and like, hey, remember that time you took on Kane, and it happens. But I'm very thankful. Very thankful. A lot of comedians all over the country have not done what I've done, or have seen, such as going overseas 8 times with the USO.
Wow.
Such as hanging out with, because I try to not hang out with comedians. I try to hang out with other people in entertainment, like actors or wrestlers. Because if you hang out with comedians, you start emulating them.
Right.
Now it's a battle. But I've got to, and also I've got to hang out with comic book artists. That because of me just being funny. That's something I do naturally, and that's very strange to me, but it's also awesome. It's kind of a blessing and a curse. It's like being Spider-Man.
Yeah. So Bruce, we got a couple minutes left here. They're gonna kick us off. So I'm too cheap to pay for a premium thing here, but
hey, I'm telling you, that shit's expensive. So we talk for 15 minutes and call it a day.
Yeah, no worries. Can you let everybody know the best place they can find you, Bruce?
Best place you can find me is at my local bar. No, best place you can find me on social media, just type in @Bruce Jingles. It'll take you all the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Golden Grams, TikTok, Clan Planet. Just go to I'm on all the major platforms. You want to look up some of my stuff? Check me out on YouTube, but be sure to follow me on social media. That way you know when my special comes out. I am very proud of this, and I think it's a feel good moment. It's a feel good. It shows you can get over your greatest tragedy.
Awesome.
Positively.
Excellent. Bruce, thanks again for coming on Dro TV. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward to this.
Thank you.
When the special is available, let us know. We'll promote the shit out of it for you. That's what we love to do.
Please. Please do. Thank you so much. And out there, thank you for supporting us right here on Dro TV. I'm Bruce Jingles. This is Dro. Was that my advertisement?
All right.
No, but seriously, thanks again.
Yes, thank you. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, because you'd miss great guests like Bruce otherwise. So thanks again, Bruce. And
subscribe to my YouTube channel too.
We're gonna link that below. Make sure you go down there. And as always, smoke them if you got them.
Damn right.
What's up, Dro TV family? You can now stream the audio version of all these episodes on your favorite podcast player. And if you like more episodes like this, check out this playlist we put together over here for you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. You don't want to miss more great content from Dro TV. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, smoke 'em if you got 'em.